chair of this session, Professor Sonnamai Tripathi ma'am, and the distinguished speaker, Dr. Pradeep Kumar Panda sir, to the dais. So the chair for this session is Professor Sonnamai Tripathi. We are honored to introduce Professor Sonnamai Tripathi ma'am, a distinguished academician from the Department of Public Administration at Keys University, Odisha, with a robust academic foundation and a prior tenure at Utkal University. Professor Tripathi is renowned for her expertise in public policy, governance and sustainable development. Her research and teaching focus on social equity, policy analysis and climate change and mitigation. Professor Tripathi's expertise will bring valuable perspectives to the RPPGTCC 2025 conference, especially regarding the intersection of governance and environmental resilience. We are privileged to have her contribute her insights to this significant platform. We are pleased to introduce Dr. Pradeep Kumar Panda, a distinguished scholar affiliated with the Center for Good Governance, Odisha, and the Gopabandhu Academy of Administration. Dr. Panda's research is centered on the critical intersection of mining, climate change, and sustainable development, with a special focus on the ecologically sensitive Keonjhar district of Odisha. His work addressed the pressing environmental and socio-economic challenges posed by mining activities, advocating for sustainable practices that balance resource extraction with ecological perspective. Dr. Panda's expertise in governance and sustainable resource management position him as a key contributor to discussions on climate change mitigation and sustainable governance at the RPPGTCC 2025 conference. We are honored to have him share his valuable perspectives at this forum. The theme of this session is Climate Change, Gender and Sustainable Development. Climate change is a global crisis with far-reaching socioeconomic and environmental consequences. Its impacts are not gender neutral, disproportionately affecting women, marginalized community due to existing inequalities. Women often bear the brunt of climate-related challenges, particularly in developing regions, as they rely heavily on natural resources for livelihood and are key players in family and community resilience. This session will feature presentation by 7 participants. Now I hand over the proceedings to the chair, Professor Sonnamai Tripathi ma'am.
This session is a type of recommendation for our conference. Now, gender, I mean women and other gender, they constitute more than half of our population. And research says that they are more affected by the postmodern development and the climatic changes. Basically, the life is of 5 elements, and land is most precious, and air and water, you know, jalabayu, air and water both are also of significant importance for women. Overall, if I say, the research says that women are affected by climate change as farmers, as women, and as citizens of the country. So basically, their health is affected because of shortage of water, their dignity is affected because of rising temperature causing domestic violence, and their livelihood is affected because there is uncertainty in rainfall. Besides, also we have many other aspects in the paper, so I would request the paper presenters, the time is up to 11:15. So we will try to complete the session by 11. I would request the paper presenters to limit themselves to 10 minutes. Why do I say so? Because your paper is just a draft paper. You will be able to develop the paper if you get queries from the delegates sitting here. What questions coming to your mind, coming to their mind by listening to you. So I request all the participants to confine yourself, to limit yourself to 10 minutes only. And even if you have a PPT, I would rather advise you to just share your research problem and the finding. Because the methodology and everything will go in your paper. We will be certainly giving you mail for making the publications. So please do limit yourself for 10 minutes only, so that we will have very interesting discussions, interactions during the session. Okay. Dr. Pradeep Kumar Panda, who has a very interesting research to share with us, and this is mining, climate change and sustainable development in Keonjhar. So basically, as I had told you in the beginning, the process of development has actually affected women more than men. Men migrate, but women stay back, encounter the polluted environment. Yesterday you had seen a documentary, so you must have had better knowledge on that. So, Dr. Panda.
Yes, I'll take less. My Okay. So, good morning one and all, distinguished chair, participants. It's always pleasure to be here in Berhampur University. I recollect I have participated more than 10 conferences here. So it's a special, I have a special connection with Berhampur University. So today I am going to speak on mining, climate change and sustainable development. So all of us know that all these terms, mining, climate change and sustainable development, are interrelated. So when we speak about mining, it has impact on environment and climate change. So without having environmental degradation, we can't achieve, if we have environmental degradation, it will be very difficult to achieve sustainable development goal. So I work in sustainable development goal, PMU at planning and convergence department. So we always try to implement sustainable mining. So mining can be sustainable or unsustainable. There are some policies. So let's see how mining can be responsible and sustainable. So my paper is basically on my Keonjhar district. Keonjhar district, as you know, is very eco-sensitive, and it has largest mining in India, and also the DMF is the largest DMF in India. So to give a broad overview, we know mining's contribution in Odisha, around 9% contribution to GBA, and approximately state gets 50,000 crore revenue from mining. So mining is very critical for Odisha in terms of revenue. You can see the wealth, 96% chromite, 92% nickel, 15% bauxite, 43% manganese. So all this makes Odisha a bountiful state, but we know that with mining there is impact on environment. So that is the trade-off. So this is called paradox of rich land. Yesterday evening we saw the documentary. So wherever we see there is rich mining, the people are poor. Be it Korba districts, 32% mining, 30% poor. Similarly, Madhya Pradesh, West Bengal, Jharkhand, Odisha, Keonjhar, it contributes 42%. 42% multilingual is poor, and in Odisha 29% that has come down. So you see mining districts are we found mostly poor districts. That is called resource cost or paradox of rich and poor. And if you see the socioeconomic parameters, socioeconomic parameters like multilingual poverty, house with all the basic amenities like drinking water, education, health, women and child, livelihood, skill development, sanitation, all this you see, it is in rates. In Keonjhar, it is highest kind of deprivation, so they don't have access to this basic facilities, Sundargarh, Angul, all these. So mining royalty, it is enjoyed by the state, we can say it goes to the revenue, but it is not contributing to common people. Those who are bearing the dust, pollution, everything, they are not getting that is kind of the scenario. And that's why there is a central scheme called Pradhan Mantri Khanija Kshetra Kalyan Yojana. So basically, it meant to be mining to be responsible and sustainable, so that people can get the benefit. Those who are affected by mining, they will be compensated through Pradhan Mantri Khanija Kshetra Yojana. So, it basically calls for spending a portion of money that is comes from mining in those local development area. There are two areas that is called high priority area, that is 60%, other priority area 40%. And the beauty of this scheme is that local peoples are the member of that committee, so that DMF committee. So transparency and accountability is maintained. They have a website and they produce everything on website. So that is the part. So the sectors on which they generally spend are the critical sectors like drinking water, environment, healthcare, sanitation, education, agriculture, welfare of people, that is priority sector, and also they invest in physical infrastructure like building schools, roads, all those things. So basically focus is on addressing the critical need of the people in those areas who are affected by the mining activities. This is the national scenario. If we see state-wise accrual in Prime Minister Khanija Kshetra Kalyan Yojana, the Odisha has highest revenue, as you can see, followed by Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Telangana. So these are the mining rich states. So the revenue from these states are higher in terms of mining because they contribute mostly major minerals, coal, lignite, all this. So top 5 states, Odisha, Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh. So that is the belt. And those are poor also. When we talk of Bimaru states, like Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, all these feature in Bimaru states. In terms of utilization, it is this utilization by those states. Chhattisgarh is doing better, 68%, Telangana 61%, Jharkhand 50%, Odisha 49%, but none of the state is 100%. So that is the crunch. So the mining revenue goes to DMF, but it is not being spent for the local people. So it is remaining idle in the like revenue source. So that was when there is a DMF sale in Planning and Convergence Department, Government of Odisha, that always monitors so that the spending will be 100%. So that is our challenge. In terms of districts in Odisha, as I said, Keonjhar has highest mining revenue, more than 23,000 crore. This is richest in terms of all India level, highest accrual, then followed by Sundargarh, Angul, Jajpur, Jharsuguda. So these are major contributor to mining revenue, and Keonjhar being highest. So If you see the spending, district-wise utilization is Jharsuguda is doing well, 80%, Angul 65%, Sundargarh 50%. Interestingly, Keonjhar, which has highest revenue, has lowest utilization. That is the paradox. It has highest revenue in terms of money, that is more than 23,000 crore, but utilization is 40%. That is very pure. Now, if you see the utilization, it is more spent in drinking water, followed by education, healthcare, road connectivity, livelihood. But we need more focused spending in livelihood, skill development. But because the persons who is affected by the mining needs livelihood activities and especially skill development. So that should be the focus. Keonjhar, as I said, the largest DMF district in Odisha. You see the earning is going and the expenditure is not following it. So the gap between the earning and expenditure is increasing. That is not a good sign. So it has to be the gaps between the earning and expenditure should be lower, so that people, those who are affected by mining, should get the fruit of kind of thing. So this is broad socioeconomic profile of Keonjhar. So it's a tribal dominated area. 45% ST, 12% SC, and literacy is 68%, and it is forest dominated, 30% is forest. If you see, 297 GPs are affected by mining in Keonjhar, so that is the range. This is allocation in sector-wise for Keonjhar district. So highest is spent in drinking water, infra, education, but our focus would be, we have advised the Keonjhar DMF to increase spending in livelihood and skill activities, because it gives, if you are spending in livelihood and skill activities, they will be self-sufficient. Otherwise, all these things will not materialize in future. So that is our point. This is the committee that spends, mostly it is controlled by the collector, and line department are the member, and local people are the member, and DMF cell that monitors it. So we have why Keonjhar is focused, because if you see underweight in Keonjhar is 37%. More than Odisha in all underweight indicators, malnutrition indicator, be it underweight, stunting, wasting, the figure is higher than Odisha, like 37%, 36%, 20%, severe wasting is 6%. So anemia, it is 75% in Keonjhar, while state average is 62%. So there is need to focus to spend the most money in nutrition related programs, like milk mission, all these things. So these are some of the projects done by the DMF to control midday meal scale, Anganwadi center, Ragi Laddu is being distributed there to all these things. So they are doing nutritious kind of thing, but it has to, the spending is less, that is the concern. So this is, in terms of health also, due to excessive mining, you can say the MMR, that is 13, and road accident death is also increasing, and institutional bias and full illumination is less than government of Odisha data, so that has to be increased, and stillbirth is increasing, 709 stillbirths. So in those areas we have find there is shortage of doctors, that is a major challenge. Only one doctor is available for 1,154 people. Whereas WHO norm is 1 per 1,000. So one doctor is treating 15,000 people. So you can understand the state of health in that. So there is huge deficiency in health. We have to focus on specialists like all these specialists are missing. Generally there is a general doctor, that is a concern. So they are doing something like one medical college have come up from DMF spending, and Keonjhar, the first COVID hospital was kind of set up in 30 days. So they are focusing on reducing IMR, MMR through maternally Ma Gruha, or it is called maternal waiting homes, where they have provided with hot cooked meals and supplementary nutrition program. So this is the challenge that we have to upgrade the infrastructure, health infrastructure, and scale up digital dispensary, because doctor can't reach all the places. So scaling up maternal waiting home, because maternal mortality is higher. Education also, we see annual dropout in Keonjhar is higher, 6.3%. In Odisha it is 5.4%. So annual dropout rate is higher. So challenge is how to bring a student to a school in those area, because the class 6 pass percentage is less, also less. And if you see availability of electricity is 28% in schools. So 72% schools don't have electricity. That is a very bad state of affairs in terms of infrastructure. This is UDI's data. So poor infrastructure in the school is visible in Keonjhar area. So that has to be. These are some of the 5T schools. They are trying, they are giving scholarship to meritorious students. Those students have also gone to foreign university from this scholarship, but we have to upgrade schooling environment so that every child in those areas will be in school. So these are some of the activities. Basically, we have to focus on 100% gross enrollment ratio out of school children should be brought to school. High school transformation, along with all this digital infrastructure should be taken. Livelihood, that is, I was saying, annual production agriculture, if you see, it is coming down. The agriculture productivity of rice pulses in those areas due to pollution, it is coming down. So that is a cause of concern. That is the impact of mining on climate change. When there is excessive mining, it affects your environment in terms of rising temperature, also in terms of contaminated water. So the production is coming down. That is a challenge. So we have to see how it will increase. The paddy cultivation is 32 quintal per hectare, but Odisha average is 45. So it is lower in productivity is lower. Similarly, maize, pulses, all these things, depending on NTAP, non-tobacco produce, the sal seed, tamarind, mohua seeds, chara seeds, but this is also declining because there is deforestation. So they are doubly affected from climate change and deforestation. So their primary livelihood is at stake. So it has, we are trying to double their farmers to agriculture production clusters. So they're mostly focusing on reviving millet through Odisha Millet Mission, so that the productivity will increase, and ensuring minimum wage, large scale milk farming, that is dairy farming, non-farm livelihood, because we know as per the World Bank study, only income from farm cultivation will not be support, so it has to be supplemented with non-farm activities like dairy farming, milk farming, all this, so that their income will be higher. So these are the challenge, low, poor yield. So you have to scale up basically water, micro irrigation project, TASAR project, and agriculture production cluster, so that we can give livelihood to the affected people. So these people are basically working on mega poultry cluster project, agriculture production cost, and then development of post-harvest structure, YD project under NABA, Odisha Millet Mission, TASAR hot plantation, all these things are going to revive the livelihood. So there is some impact. There is reduction in stunting recently, reduction in underweight, increase in institutional wealth, increase in improved drinking water in Keonjhar compared to Odisha, but for other district the scale is higher than. So this is their income. So basically we have to focus on 6-point approach, that is capacity building. It will start with capacity building, monitoring, evaluation, process, partnership, design, because with whole of government, whole of society approach, we can lead to a better sustainable development. So I'll stop here. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Panda. It was really a very interesting paper. Basically, let me inform the participants here that because of the Mines and Minerals Regulation Act, under that act, of the central government, state governments have constituted district mineral fund since 2015, and the fund to the district mineral fund non-profit trust comes from the miners. A part of the profit is deposited in the district mineral fund, and the mandate of the fund is that the fund will be utilized for the development of that respective district. So that is how the government has utilized the DMF fund. And Dr. Panda has focused on how this fund has been utilized for reducing maternal mortality and promoting child health and maternal health, and also developing infrastructure and all those human development indicators. He has shown in his presentation that how the human development indicators have improved over the years. But however, his point is that the development is not that shiny. It requires more focus. Okay? So if you have any question, not more questions, maximum 3 questions, please put up to the speaker. So we will wind up this discussion here, then we will go for the second presentation. If there is any question? Yes, sir. Mic ta ଟିକେ mic ta ବୁଲେଇ ଦିଅନ୍ତୁ ସେଠି.
Dr. Panda.
So we will have only 5 minutes for this question and answer session, so that other paper presenters will get justice.
Dr. Panda delivered and sorry.
Thank you.
What I learned. So my question: how your mining area contributes for attaining any of the sustainable goals? Any of one, how it is? What are the provisions there?
Okay, if you see mining, basically if you see sustainable development goal framework, there are 2 goals mining contributes directly. There is goal number 8, that is decent work and economic growth, and goal number 9, industry, innovation, infrastructure. If you see all the revenue that is for mining industries or infrastructure, that you generally used for decent work and economic growth, giving livelihood to the local people. That is the sponsor. So that is directly addressed to goal number 8. If I say goal number 8.9, local employment kind of thing, and also it contributes to goal number 9, that is industry, innovation, infrastructure. Through mining, there is increase in infrastructure, both physical and social infrastructure. There is increase in road connectivity, all these things. So it mining directly contributes to goal number 8 and 9 of sustainable development goal framework.
Thank you very much, Dr. Panda.
Yeah.
I'm really, well, I should say it's a wake-up call, your presentation.
Yes.
And I can't believe in this day and age, this is the situation of such a large number of people who are living in an area, in a state which has so much opportunity, that they are in such a poor and deprived condition. Clearly there needs to be a lot to be improved for them. And if their environment is what keeps them alive, what emphasis is on restoring their environment, not roads, but the environment, to ensure that the air they breathe is not filled with dust, that the water they drink and flows past their homes is clear and not the red color that we saw yesterday.
Yes.
Thank you.
So as per sustainable mining framework, there is a guideline by Supreme Court and Ministry of Steel and Mines. So from 2016, the first guideline came. So those area who is affected by the mining has to be compensated by the forestation in those area. That was one thing. And all those fields, the sand mines, after mining, the whole has to be filled with land and reclamation, and the plant has to be grown in that area. That is mandate, but practically speaking, it is not affecting. So practically speaking, all the miners, they are earning the revenue and going on addressing the mines. If you go to Keonjhar or Sundargarh, any area, you will see open cast mines. There is no forestation, there is no filling with that land and all these things. So clearly there is violation of sustainable mining principle in those areas, but Supreme Court and National Green Tribunal is following regularly so that the mining will be responsible and sustainable. As I said, mining has to be sustainable and responsible, otherwise it will be very difficult in those areas to take even breath. If you know, some of the places of Keonjhar and Angul features in world's most polluted area right now. So so the air quality is severely poor there. So it is definitely a wake-up call for all of us policy planners, everyone, to allow all this irresponsible mining or to make some stringent measures so that they can contribute to environment. So that is a challenge I see, and right now the situation is very gloomy. Very gloomy. So they are not following the sustainable mining principles. That is the problem. Very sad, but it's true.
I would supplement this by saying that the mining areas, that is affecting the health in a major way.
Air pollution, what?
The air pollution and water pollution is affecting the areas in a major way,
Yes.
and migration is happening, and it is affecting the health of the children and the women.
Yes.
That is the.
That's what I am a remember.
Yeah. So the next paper presenter is Angelina Patrick. Yeah. Her paper is The Gendered Impact of Climate-Induced Migration, Insights from the Sundarbans to Kolkata.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Angelina Patrick and I am from JNU, New Delhi. I am a PhD scholar there. These data are collected via personal interaction from Pargumti village in South 24 Parganas. It won't have statistics as Dr. Pradeep has mentioned, but it's a storyline. I'll be first talking about how climate-induced migration, the mere definition and available data is not sufficient to address these kind of migration. So, human movement from one location to another in response to environmental and climate change challenges constitute a distinct form of migration and is referred to as climate-induced migration in the study. Environmental deterioration, extreme weather conditions are motivated by socio-economic changes, government initiatives, and intergovernmental interaction in cases of cross-border movement. There has been movement from Sundarban region to Bangladesh also. Simultaneously, several studies claim that other complex factors are also responsible, but I will be looking at climate change and economic opportunity as the factors while doing the study. There are numerous data that are available leading organization has indicated significant increase in climate-induced migration, such as World Bank Groundwork Report of 2021, where they have estimated that by 2050, 216 million people will be forced to relocate due to environmental degradation and effects of climate change. Simultaneously, the Internal Displacement Monitoring Center governmental report on environmental displacement has also shown similar data, stating that 12.5 million people were internally displaced by a disaster in South Asia in 2022. India ranks second with 2.5 million, whereas Bangladesh, where we share the border of Sundarban region, will have 1.5 million in the region. And the main targeted calamity would be flood and coastal infrastructure destruction. Similar data from the United Nations High Commissioner of Refugee anticipate that between 50 to 200 million people may be forced to leave their homes by the year 2050, either within their own countries or across borders. However, an exact number of people cannot be predicted, as all three studies use different statistics depending on the underlying method, scenarios, and time framework. So these are the definitional challenges that one faces while addressing the concept of climate-induced migration. It totally depends on interpretation, how a scholar interprets the term climate-induced migration. For example, it is examining a distinct and a similarity between the concept of environmental migration and climate migration. It is also important to consider whether individuals are affected by climate change should be classified as refugees or migrants. The term climate-induced migration has no widely accepted definition. Some scholars employ the term to support their studies, while others treat it as an approach to the subject, limited or case-specific. These are the various literature review that suggest the complex relationship between environmental conditions and individual when talking about climate-induced migration. There is an issue where we synonymously use the term with environmental refugees, environmental migration, climate refugees. There is no universally agreed definition for these terms, but there is ample data demonstrating the connection between climate-induced climate change and migration in case-specific area. Migration has urged to be an inherent reaction to global environmental change. There are two distinct categories of migrant. One is internal migrants, which occur with a specific territory or region, and there are external or cross-border migration, which involves movement across international bodies. In the study, I will be talking about internal migration, because external migration to Sundarban, the data is not static and is not available in open sources. So these are the literature review that I followed. Then there's a concept of push and pull factor when we talk about climate-induced migration. The study utilizes the migration theory of push and pull. This is very basic how the concept of push and pull has been used in the dimension. For example, observation indicated that in Sundarban region, a significant proportion of coastal community favored relocating to the urban environments of Kolkata or other Indian states. The urban dwelling serves as a significant attraction for migration due to economic opportunity, while climate change in Sundarban act as a compiling reason for individuals to leave their house. For instance, in the new classical migration theory, which includes wage and means of sustenance as determinant of migration, the migrator frequently considers environmental concern in addition. The push and pull factors are the most prevalent understanding human migration. Negative effects also include socio-economic issues, extreme weather conditions, low wages, while positive factors include interpersonal relationship, easy movement, and high wages. Then I'll move towards gender and climate migration. The climate crisis has a significant and uneven impact on women and girls, intensifying the pre-existing gender inequalities that are happening in the coastal communities. Women and girls in rural remote are prone to encounter significant challenges such as risk to livelihood, health, safety. Here it is very important to understand that climate change is a threat multiplier for already being in a distressed environment for women in the Sundarban region. In rural setting as Sundarban, women assume a vital function in agriculture, frequently serving as the main procurer and income generator for their household. Nonetheless, climate change exacerbates the responsibility and challenges, and during periods of distress, it is common for young women to be removed from educational settings to contribute to household and agricultural responsibility towards family. So the specific case study of Sundarban, I will just describe the geographical location of Sundarban. Sundarban as an expansive delta spans to 40,000 square kilometer, extending across Bangladesh to the east and West Bengal to the west, where major part of Sundarban lies with Bangladesh. This distinctive ecosystem is marked by dense mangrove forests and marshy land, receiving recognition as a UNESCO World Heritage and is designated as a biosphere reserve. The Sundarban is renowned for its Royal Bengal tiger and Sundari trees, which play a critical role both in adapting to climate change and supporting local communities, as they facilitate activities like fishing, honey collection, and crab and shrimp harvesting. The distinct geographical feature of Sundarban, identified as a deltaic region, is significantly vulnerable to sea level rise, frequent flooding, coastal flooding, cyclone, and storm. Lochar was among the initial inhabited islands to submerge beneath the sea in 1996 itself. Then I'll be talking about the various climate vulnerability in really short. First is tropical cyclone, which is headed towards Sundarban very frequently. It is also known as the cyclone capital of India by the Indian Meteorological Department. The tropical cyclones predominantly appear from April to May and from November to December period, though these period fluctuate in detail because of climate-related issues. The study of 24 Parganas North and South has been a predominant study for scholars, because these are the regions that are most affected by climate, where Pargunti village, which I have chosen, has been prominently affected. Then there is coastal flooding. The challenge are similar to what we see in tropical cyclone, and the most affected was during Cyclone Aila, where a large sum of salted water entered the farming lands of the villagers. It is very important to understand that Bay of Bengal, particularly near the Sundarbans, experience highest sea level rise in India and ranks among the highest globally. The Bay of Bengal experiences rising sea level, which are occurring at a faster rate than any other major body because of its deltaic region. Then there is sanitary intrusion. The increase of salt water level, which happens during cyclone, coastal flooding and sea level rise, has also found impact on agricultural land, especially cultivation of betel leaf and fishery sector. It also contaminates freshwater resources such as tube well and pond, making it difficult for women to gather drinking water. Then there is also reduction of forest reserve due to salinity, because a large section of the villagers move to these forest reserve as a source of income and leads to cutting down of trees. Then I'll be talking about how climate migration in Sundarban is affecting. The phenomena of migration from Sundarban has a long history. It is nothing new as such. The condition is generated by factors which are detrimental to coastal communities of 24 Parganas. There has always been a push and pull factor. It is crucial to recognize that climate change serves as a significant factor in migration, acting as both push factor that compels individuals to leave their current location and a pull factor that attracts them to urban centers due to economic opportunities. Okay, I'll just conclude, ma'am. I'll straight away go to the impact on Sundarban women. Okay, so I'll just give you a slight idea. First of all, there is a statistics that is provided by the government where extreme weather events have suggested that women and children are being affected. The risk has been developed to 14 times and they are more likely to die than men. An alarming 4 out of 5 people are displaced by climate change are women and children, which are common in Sundarban region. An acute disaster also disrupts essential services like sexual and reproductive health care, further exaggerating the negative impact. Then there is a concept of tiger widows, where a large section of people move to Sundarban region. Men go to Sundarban region in the forest to collect honey or to catch crab and prawn, and have a conflict with the resident population of tiger, resulting in unfortunate outcome. And then there is a mental issue that has been seen in these women that are common, such as depression and panic attack. And there's increasing cases of schizophrenia also in this category. Then there is human trafficking and smuggling also, which said that in Bengal in 2020, according to the India's National Crime Record Bureau, 10,500 girls were reported missing, amongst which 10% was seen into prostitution. In conclusion, the challenges possessed by climate-induced migration highlights the urgent need for universally accepted legal framework to protect climate refugees, particularly vulnerable regions in the Indian Sundarban. The complexity of rural-urban migration further exaggerates the gender disparity in the region. That will be all. Thank you so much.
So it's a very insightful paper. Climate change induced migration has affected women more than men. That is what Angelina tries to say. It has affected the health. It has affected their dignity in the sense that in some cases human trafficking is noticed. So that is a dangerous situation for the adolescent girls. And Sundarban is a quite well-known, internationally acclaimed wetland area which is a rich natural heritage, but however people there are in search of livelihood and they are migrating. So this is really a paradox. If you have any questions, just quick questions 2, 3, so that we will again proceed to the further second paper. Any questions? I have one question, Angelina, that how do you distinguish between environmental migration and climatic migration?
In my study, I have taken environment as a factor when we're talking about climate change. Because the factor that I am using.
No, you can come here also, you can just deliver.
There are 4 factors that I'm taking. One is coastal flooding, sea level rise, cyclone storm. So
No, that is
yeah.
true.
So
But how do you distinguish between, you said environmental versus climatic migration. So how do you distinguish between environmental?
To tell that there are several scholars that use both the words simultaneously. Some use it as environmental migration, some use it as climate migration. When I was doing a literature review of these data, when they were talking about environmental migration as such, they were looking at both the man-made issues as well as the natural issues, where they're talking about leakages from industrial area. So while describing how I use the term is to suggest that it is only natural in sense, though there is a larger man-made issue that is related to it. So there is this distinction that I have made. So I'll be using the term climate-induced migration only with relate to climate change or extreme weather condition in a specific area. So the word environmental in such term I have excluded, saying that it cannot be used in sense where man-made disaster are related. Where there's
So I should understand like this, that climate-induced migration may be caused by natural factors like sea level rise and Anthropocene factors like the mining that Dr. Panda said. Yeah, that is the thing. Okay, thank you. Any other question? No question, okay. So the second paper that is on self-help groups by Deepak Biswas, Sustainable Development of Self-Help Groups through the Governance of Urban and Rural Areas in Hooghly District, West Bengal, a study. Please, sir. If you just include in this climate change, it would be much better.
Respected chairperson, invited lecturer, and all respected dignitaries and audience. Actually, whatever I have, after sitting in the front side, whatever I have saw, all sorts of negative impact on women in terms of climate, in terms of all the things, but I will say something positive for the favor of the women. Actually, sustainable development, whatever discussed regarding economic point of view, social point of view, and also actually I would like to say something regarding self-help group point of view. We know self-help group is one of the important instrument by which actually poverty may be removed, and it is trying by NABARD, one of the actually whatever I have seen the role of NABARD here. The role is that NABARD after actually NABARD in the year 1992 they united all the self-help groups in a separate umbrella. So it is a very beautiful work which was made for the favor of the women self-help group. Especially self-help group is mainly dominated by the women. Each and everywhere, whatever I have observed, primary to secondary data in terms of Indian point of view, West Bengal point of view, and any district point of view, whatever I have observed, 80 to 90% self-help groups are dominated by women, and they are performing very beautiful work. And previously, whatever I observed, South was dominating in terms of self-help group, but now Eastern India, West Bengal, Odisha, they are dominating much more than the southern states. Actually, now, is it okay? Yeah. My topic covered introduction, review of literature, objective methodology, data sources, data analysis, findings, conclusion, and references. But, yeah. Okay. Actually, that is a picture. Most of the poor people, they are actually bottom of the pyramid. To remove the poverty, it is one of the important instruments which mainly used to the poorest of the people through self-help group providing microfinance, etc., etc. Actually, I have seen environmental, economic, and society, both environmental, economic, and society. Whatever discussion already been made, just I would like to highlight only the economic and social angle. I have already discussed the introduction, no such so much literature I have observed, but just objective. Here, actually, whatever role is playing by the self-help group, it will be very significant from women's empowerment point of view, and how the changes took place that has been also reflected in my study. Actually, I have taken primary data as well as secondary data. Both data have been incorporated here, and my study area mainly Hooghly districts, one of the actually district of West Bengal. So Hooghly district is very famous in terms of ancient point of view. Actually, the script which we are writing, it has been actually invented on that particular area through the actually Dutch. And jute industry is also very famous in Hooghly district also. But actually, in terms of some social point of view, like SC, ST and OBC, both are mainly involved in self-help group, especially in the ladies. Whatever I have observed, the poorest of the poor people mainly belong to SC/ST on that particular area. They are mostly involved in self-help group. And these are the data which I already been found. Actually, my first area was 6 blocks: Horipal, Jangipara, Khanakul, Pandua, Chonditala, এবং Surampur. So from that particular area, I have covered urban, rural, male and female both, but whatever I have observed, mainly female are mostly involved, and they are actually doing very well after getting their loan from different financial institutions. And whatever I have observed, mainly they are taking loan from the commercial bank due to low percentage of interest. But when they are bound to take loan from the private institution like Bandhan, they are mainly exploited because rate of interest is too high. From any commercial bank, they are taking loan 12%, but they have to charge double rate of interest in Bandhan Bank. So they are really deprived when they are taking loan from any private institutions or bank. And actually, I have taken some descriptive statistics. I would like just skipping a bit. It has reflected how much percentage BPL, APL, etc., how much of SC, ST, OBC, etc., and how much members under category of SC, ST. So many things are being incorporated here. But the main thing which I would like to say here, actually, their life is mainly improved because after taking their loan, how they have improved their life through different kinds of social work. They are actually making any kind of cottage industry, any kind of food. They are homely made. All sorts of home appliances are being made by self-help group, especially taking loan. And how much they improved, some average changes, little changes. So there are changes is average, because whatever I have told, they are paying more interest due to paying their loan with principal. They have to pay more interest. So they are not improving much better whatever they are thinking. And actually, I rotate component matrix have been applied. One of the principal component matrix have already been applied for knowing some economic factors, social factors, and socio-economic factors. And lastly, I have, before joining self-help group and after joining self-help group, how their changes took place. It is significantly observed that they are mainly financially benefited after taking the role and after joining the self-help group. Thank you.
So it's a different paper and a very important topic, that is self-help groups. Now, we all are, in South Asia particularly, we all are acquainted with the social phenomenon of the late 90s, I should say, that women are engaged in self-help groups, and these self-help groups have empowered them economically and then socially also. I mean, they were allowed to come out of their house only because it is financially beneficial for the household. So that is what Sri Vishwas is informing us, that I have my experience of Odisha, but he has also shared his experience of Hooghly district, where the self-help groups, they are taking loans and it has reduced the role of money lenders. Because as we know, the loan is with minimal interest. They are getting the loan. Their life has improved and they are engaged in income generating activities. Further research will open up the issues like we have today self-help group federations. If you roam around Orissa, you will find their empowerment in terms of Mission Shakti cafes. The Ministry of Mission Shakti is, the Department of Mission Shakti under the leadership of a secretary, a senior bureaucrat, is empowering the women economically as well as socially. We have Mission Shakti cafes. Here also I think the self-help group women in Berhampur University itself, the self-help group women have been given the responsibility of providing tiffin, tea and various eatables. So thank you, sir. Any questions for Mr. Vishwas? Yeah.
He has taken a Hooghly district as a study, whereas what is the major activity they have taken and a major source of livelihood of the SSG members?
No, he said they are preparing homemade processed foods. That is what he said in his finding, that they are preparing homemade processed foods. Yeah.
Actually, they are very poor, so they are getting microfinance is also very little in number. So whatever they are doing, they are mainly doing different kinds of handmade product, processing foods.
Yeah.
That is the mainly their objective, to earn some money for selling these goods for different kinds of fair, village fair.
Yeah.
So whatever they are producing, only they are trying to sell some garland, some that is jhuri, whatever I am telling, some pot making things, some toys. So very beautiful. Whatever they have given effort, it is really very beautiful. But they are trying, they are level based to do well, and they are selling whatever money. They are also purchasing some raw materials, and by this again and again they are circulating their money, and they are, and difference between the income and expenses, whatever profit they are getting, it is actually investing in their own business.
Yes, I'm fascinated by what you have done, because I've been involved in teaching gender for 45 years, 2 judges only, and I'm like always known there's this huge thing behind it. Now, the dynamics, and I'd really like to go into the details of that. You see, the women, first of all, the exploitativeness of this whole process. Nobody has done a study on that. And I think perhaps we have a wonderful leadership in you to lead some sort of a study. Because the data, they are invisible. So what happens is, first they are, of course, if not, they have to go to money lenders. And at the end of it, they are physically exploited, their children are physically exploited, and that's a whole different thing. But now they go to the banks who have huge micro-enterprise. You're talking a micro-enterprise, right? So micro-enterprise is the most exploitative situation because they pay more interest than the magnates in all our countries, than the business. And The problem is they're also exploited economically by their spouses or their paramours or their partners, because for instance if his three-wheeler breaks down, he comes home and beats her up till she goes and gets the money, comes and gives it to him, and quite often he doesn't even pay it back. So she has to do domestic work to augment it, working in 2-3 houses. Nobody has actually captured this part of the violence. I don't see, certainly the Western countries won't even begin to talk of it because they have poor as bad as our poor, but they're so hidden in the ghettos and the black people and all those different problems they have. We talk about it because this is 50% of our people and the different dimensions of these women. And I'd really encourage, this is very nice to fall into the pattern set by Western concepts of, but you've done this amazing thing of going, even talking about this. Because this is how the poor women live. And it's a massive power force. But does it empower them? Or is there an expert? Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Thank you so much.
Whatever I have observed through my field work, they are feeling more prestigious. In their family, their position is too high. Due to their work, they are now working in the self-help group, they are earning something. Their social prestige is also enhanced. So socially and politically, they are also enhanced due to their work, as they are doing something.
So it's a proven fact that, ma'am, please, it's a proven fact that self-help group movement has empowered women economically, socially, as well as politically to some extent, because their training in leadership in the SSGs have given them self-confidence to become a force in the rural governance politics.
And especially, madam, village women.
Even the SSG members, they are becoming ward members also. So we will move to the next paper, sir, because there is no time.
Thank you, madam. Thank you.
The next participant is Josna Rani Panda, exploring the effects of climate crisis on adolescent girls in Bhubaneswar. Josna Rani Panda. Then Smruti Rekha Sahu, Gender Realities of Climate Crisis, from Vulnerability to Empowerment. Smruti, you have 10 minutes, so I know you have interesting findings, so please focus on the findings.
Can you please tell me how to Yes, ma'am. Honorable Chair of this technical session, invited resource person of the technical session, esteemed dignitaries of the dais, and the entire research fraternity from various disciplines. So my name is Smruti Rekha Sahu and I am from Department of Economics, Berhampur University. And ma'am, there might be some miscommunication. The title of my paper is Influence of Clean Energy and Carbon Intensity on Female Life Expectancy in India. So the story starts with a very complex interplay between energy access, public health and environmental sustainability. And this complex interplay challenges the well-being of women in India largely. So this dynamic demands to analyze the impact of carbon emission, access to clean fuel and electricity on the life expectancy of women in India, where economic growth has come at a severe environmental cost. The World Health Organization has highlighted that in India, major part of the population, they use solid biomass for cooking and it results various respiratory diseases as well as indoor air pollution. So the Indian government has recognized the adverse effects of air pollution on public health, and the Air Quality Life Index report, it has indicated that the air pollution shortens the average Indian life expectancy by 5 years. So in this context, the objective of my study is to assess the impact of clean energy, carbon intensity on the life expectancy of women in India. So the null hypothesis I have formulated is that there is no impact of clean energy and carbon intensity on the life expectancy of women, and I have taken a number of independent variables and one dependent variable. So my study includes CGDP, that is carbon intensity in GDP, access to sorry sir. Sir, I have to operate two things simultaneously, that's why in the rush I forgot. So, where I was? Yes. So I have my independent variables are CGDP, ATE, that is access to electricity and clean fuel, and I have given this entire scenario in a functional relationship, and I have taken a multi-year time series data from 2000 to 2019 obtained from the World Bank data repository using the World Bank Development Indices indicators. So, I have derived the descriptive statistics correlation analysis and hierarchical regression analysis as per the requirement of the study. In order to get an initial overview of the data, I have done the descriptive statistics. Then, after meeting the linearity and normality test, I have gone for the Pearson correlation coefficient test, and as the hierarchical regression allows the variables to be added step by step, and the major predictors impact on the dependent variable, it is not get overshadowed by the impact of the other predictors. Considering the depth of the scenario, I have incorporated the hierarchical regression. This is the test of normality and linearity. Sorry, before that, this is the descriptive statistics table, and it shows varying degrees of symmetry, skewness and flatness with none of the variables displaying significant deviation from normality. This is the test of normality and linearity in Sapir-Wheel test. As you can see, the significance value exceeding 0.05, which confirms the normality test, and in case of linearity, we have done the partial regression plots. Here we have not included the plots, here only the statistical results are there, the R-square and adjusted R-square value. The higher F statistics shows the model fit, it is also significant, and the residual shows the accurate prediction. There is also less variability regarding the residual standard deviation, and my study also passes the linearity check. So on that basis, I have derived the Pearson correlation coefficient test, and the Pearson correlation coefficient test between life expectancy of female and CGDP is minus 0.78. That shows a negative relationship between these variables, and between ATE and between access to electricity, clean fuel and life expectancy of female, there is a positive relationship, and all these correlation analysis are statistically significant. So coming to this is my correlation analysis table. Yes ma'am, I'm speeding up. This is regression analysis. In this, I have two models. In the first model, I have incorporated only CGDP to see the impact of this individual variable, and then in the next model, I have added two more variables, that is clean fuel and access to electricity. And this table, so the unstandardized coefficient of coefficients beta and the standardized coefficient of beta, these values shows that again confirms the correlation test, reflecting the positive and negative relationship between variables. The R-square value of the first model is 0.608. That shows that 60.8% of variance in the dependent variable is explained by my CGDP, and in the second model, And in the second model, 98.4%. That means the model gets improvised because of the addition of the other two predictors, and 98.4% of variance in the dependent variable is explained by my independent variable. Here I have done the the Darby-Watson test for autocorrelation, and it is 2.39. Normally in statistics from 1.5 to 2.5 we accept the autocorrelation test. Therefore I haven't further checked for the seasonality trend or incorporated for time series analysis. So after this, this table includes the detailed explanation about my excluded variable and why I wanted to incorporate the clean fuel and access to electricity. You can see the tolerance and variance inflation factor columns. Here my VIF and the tolerance is 0.3, which reflected that there would not be any multicollinearity issue. Therefore I incorporated. But again, it showed that there is multicollinearity issue. So coming to the last slide. Yes, my residual statistics table. It again shows the overall fit of the model. The predicted values for life expectancy female ranges from 64.14 to 72.68 with a very small standard deviation 2.75 that shows the limited dispersion, and the residual talks about the difference between the observed and predicted value, and the standard deviation is 0.36. Again, it confirms the minimal errors, and the standardized residuals and the standardized predicted value, their mean value is 0, which again reflects symmetrically. They are symmetrically distributed around their means with no extreme outliers, suggesting the model is both accurate and reliable. Hence, in conclusion, the residual statistics suggested a strong model fit. So after all these statistical analyses, what I have, what kind of inference I have got from my study is that lower carbon intensity in GDP and increased access to electricity and clean fuel were significantly associated with improved life expectancy for women. Hence, improving energy access and reducing environmental pollution can have a profound impact on women's health. So that's all from my side. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much, Smriti. It's a very provoking, thought-provoking paper. Any questions for Smriti? Smriti is saying that those who are cooking food in chula, which the South Asian women do, that has impacted their respiratory system. And green energy, is it LPG gas?
No, ma'am. Yes, it is.
What is green energy that you...
Clean energy means LPG and other improved.
So LPG, or you can say induction. So all the way we do not have smoke emission. So that is enhancing the life expectancy of women. It's a relative finding through a very, very stringent scientific methods. She has tried to prove it. So any questions for Smriti? I have one question, Smriti.
Yes.
Did you make a comparison between two groups of women where the one group using continuously that biomass fuel and the other group who is using continuously LPG gas? I mean, since I have started focusing on cooking, I have used this green energy of your so-called green energy, and my mother has a mixed category.
Yes,
Part of her life she used biomass fuel, and part of her life she used green energy. And there are some women villages, tribal women, even today also they are using biomass fuel. Did you do any comparison regarding this?
Ma'am, my paper is based on the secondary data analysis only, so I have taken the indices from World Bank Data Repository. So this is a work in progress. I haven't done, I am yet not done with entire statistical analysis also, and I haven't checked the reality, the ground reality, but I will consider your suggestion, ma'am, and I will go for the primary study, and I will implement your suggestions in my paper.
It's a very, your hypothesis is a very valuable hypothesis. That is how the Prime Minister had introduced Ujjwala Yojana.
Yes.
So please do make this comparative study, so it will be an addition to feminist economics and feminist social science.
Sure.
So thank you.